going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning into the Mac and Fish podcast. I'm Coach McKinley Roll, and I'm here with my co-host, Charles Fishbein, better known as Fish. Fish, what's going on?
Everything's great other than weighing another 25 pounds. All that weight I lost the last couple months, I packed it back on after a great Thanksgiving dinner and a lot of ham and turkey, man. A lot of ham and turkey.
That's what y'all eat, man? Ham and turkey?
I shouldn't tell anybody I eat the ham, but I ate a lot of ham and ate some turkey too, man. But the last couple of days, we had so much ham left over. I made like ham omelets and stuff. Like I made a ham omelet today. So it's like, but I'm hammed out. I'm hammed out, man.
That's good. That's a good deal. It's a good deal. Well, hey, it's a lot to cover. So we're going to jump right into it. One of the games that went on was Florida versus Kentucky. I thought that, obviously we know Kentucky's a very good team. We've had Coach Grant on the podcast. We know what they bring to the table. I thought this was one of UF's better games of the season. And obviously now the push is to go for Kyle Trask for Heisman. But Fish, and I text you and Corey the other day about this. In my opinion, Kyle Pitts is a special player. He is a first-round draft pick, and he's a tough matchup for any defense. What are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, with the first pick of the New England Patriots, 20th overall this year, Kyle Pitts will be the selection. So you see this guy's special. He's one of the best tight ends probably we've seen in the last 10, 15 years. And that's saying something because the position has the evolution of this position and how important it's become in today's modern era of football. But Kyle Pitts is such a threat because he's not just your typical tight end. You can line him up out wide. You can't put a linebacker on him because he's just too fast. You can't put him on a DB on him because he's just too big. He's a matchup nightmare. And I don't think you can – the problem you have trying to cover him as a defensive coordinator is you got to take away from other things that are – you don't want to put two guys on a tight end because that will basically open up everything for an offensive coordinator. You're going to be able to run the ball effectively. Your other receivers are going to get man coverage. He creates so many problems, and you can't defend him. I don't believe there's a linebacker in the country in college football that could defend him. He is that hard to defend, and he gives them so many options offensively. And we talked about it. They ran a couple of weeks ago. They ran a lot of wheel routes. He was out, and all of a sudden he comes back in. Now they incorporate him back in the offense, and their offense becomes one of the more difficult offenses to defend just nationally. I don't think you can really stop them. The only team that can really stop Florida offensively is themselves. And I don't think whether it's Alabama, whether it's Notre Dame, Clemson, any of these teams that they could possibly face, I think they could score for score. Now, defensively, they fixed some things up in this Kentucky game, but you can still see they have some problems on that side of the ball. So they're going to have to outscore people if they want to win a national title this year, but I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that. In fact, I think I told you about it was when Coach Grantham and Coach Mullen got into it on the sidelines. That anyone who has coached the game, obviously that has happened many times. When I coached on a collegiate level, trust me, I got a tongue lashing from Coach Sims. Other coaches have received it as well. It's part of it, right? It's part of the profession. And but anyone, and I've been hearing UF fans and seeing UF fans talk about, it's about time and good riddance and this and this. But Todd Grantham is one of the top defensive coordinators in the country, Fish. He was that established when he was at University of Georgia and when he went to the Cowboys a little time and now at UF. He is one of the top coordinators in the country, period. What is your thought on that?
I mean, their fan base lives in a bubble. Just go look at college football now. there are not many defenses that are slowing anybody down. So
Yeah.
you got to understand right now the advantage is to the offense. And that's why I like Notre Dame so much, because defensively, I think they're very good defensively. I told you, I know BYU's not in the discussion for the playoffs, but defensively, they're very sound. They stay in their gaps. They don't give up big plays. They keep everything in front of them. They may give up points. They may give up a lot of yards, but they don't give up a lot of points. In the days of, those Florida State, Miami, Florida defenses that give up 6 points a game, knocks 6 quarterbacks out during the year, those days are over unless the rules change back. And Florida's a very good football team. And if their fans don't want Todd Grantham, there's plenty of teams that would take him as a defensive coordinator. Like you said, he's one of the best. His history's shown it. I think it's just silly to think this guy can't coach or there's some problem with him. There's no scheme. We've talked about this so many times, McKinley. Fans have this image of this magical scheme that could just stop any offense, and they don't exist. At the end of the day, you have the players. The players that you put in that scheme are going to basically be the ones that have your success or failure going to be based on. And yes, you could do something one game during the season to disguise something, but over 10, 12 games as coaches, I mean, I know at the high school level, damn, these guys want 10 games of schools just to get the college level. They have every single game of a school. They have every angle. They have end zone, sideline, every view. So there's nothing you can't do. I remember going over to one school. I remember going to Auburn all the way back when they played FSU in the national championship. And they brought me in and they showed me all their cut-ups. And there was one play where they broke down their own offense. And when they had this personnel in there, they ran the ball 95% of the time to this one guy. So what did Jeremy Pruitt do in the national championship game? He put Jalen Ramsey where that guy was coming across. And Auburn knew that they were going to run that play. So what Auburn did was they let Jalen Ramsey blitz, and they, instead of running on that play, Auburn went the total opposite, went play action pass, almost caught FSU. But that's because all their notes told them, hey, this is what we do. We're too predictable. And that's what happens as coaches. You call plays, you get in a certain rhythm. That's how you're going to call your plays, and you're not going to change. There's no magic bullet to a lot of these plays. And I think fans just think, oh, this guy can't coach at all. He's not good. We gave up 500 yards. Well, hell, everybody's giving up 500 yards. It's not Todd Grantham's problem. It's a problem in college football right now, and everybody's trying to figure it out. There's not a defensive coordinator in the country. I mean, you go look, Alabama has probably the best defensive coach, one of them of all time, and Coach Saban and the guys that he's had. And Clemson's put up, 40 points, 50 points, and even Saban's realized, hey, listen, it's an offensive game. Let's just get a few stops here and there. And our defense, if we get a handful of stops, we'll win this game, even if we have to score 40-something. And that's just how the game is now.
Yeah. Well, hopping into, Notre Dame, speaking about them and their game against UNC, what did you think about that game?
I think the one way you find out how good football teams are at the college football level is how they respond weekly and how they respond in each individual game. And the great teams are the very good teams that play for national titles. They're going to have moments where you're going to find out where they're at. Notre Dame in this game, I believe they got down 7-0 and then 14. They got down 7-0 and then I believe they were down 14-7. And then basically their defense made the adjustments and shut North Carolina down. I don't think North Carolina only scored 7 points in the second half. This is a great football team. We've discussed this. Everybody wants to sit there and go, oh, this Notre Dame is the same Notre Dame that played Alabama in the national title. This is not the same Notre Dame. This is probably their best team since they won a national title in '93. They've got all the parts. We've talked about it offensively. They've got a great running game. They put up almost 200 yards of rushing the other day. And then you look, they put up almost 3 yards of passing. So they're balanced. They keep you off balance. And their tight end may be one of the best in the country.
Yeah.
And defensively, they can get after you on that side of the ball. They have a pass rusher. They're very good on the back end. This is about as complete of a football team as you're going to see in college football this year. And that's why I told you I really like them to not only, win the ACC, go back and play Clemson again and beat them, but I like them to go all the way and carry the trophy this year because of how balanced they are and what a great football team they are.
Yeah, you've definitely stuck to your guns on that. As far as speaking about Notre Dame as a national championship contender, I've always thought they were a complete team, but the more and more I watch them, the more and more I see that, and I feel more confident that they will be in that conversation. Like you said, this is Notre Dame's best team since I've been alive, or that I could remember football. They just have everything you could ask for. That those tight ends are so impressive. I mean, they got in a goal line set, Fish, and or short yardage set, and they just did whatever they wanted to. They just imposed their will, and North Carolina could not stop it. Their defense, fast. They have all the answers. They can cover. They can tackle well. They stop the run. They make you one-dimensional. They have all of these different answers that you want to come with, and they're a complete team. I look forward to seeing Notre Dame play Clemson again, and they will punch their ticket towards the national title game if they're able to win that game, and they'll be in the conversation. There's no doubt. They have everything you asked for in the team, and Brian Kelly should be looking for it.
Just look at the stats: 211 passing yards for Sam Howell. Pretty much most of those came in the first half, and then 30 rushes for 87 yards. That is shutting down the run.
No doubt.
I'm not good in math, but I know this. I think that's not a percentage you want per average.
Well, it's less than 3 yards per carry.
Yeah, you do not want to be averaging less than 3 yards a carry to win a football game. And this is a very good football team. And I think, their lack of success when they've made it to the playoffs has turned people off, I think. But I think this is just a different football team. So
it is. It is. There's no doubt about that. Speaking about a different football team, let's talk about the powerhouse that Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher, Coach Jimbo Fisher has turned Texas A&M Aggies into. Fish, we've spoken about it. Everyone wants to talk about how, Jimbo Fisher's offense is outdated. Oh, he can't win without Jameis. Oh, he's too demanding. Oh, he's too predictable. Whatever you want to say, make sure you say winner next to Jimbo Fisher's name, winner, because that's the only thing he's done since he's been at Texas A&M. He's just made them a better team and a complete team. I see a team that can win multiple different ways. Their offense was not on point this past weekend, okay? But their defense, what Mike Elko is doing at Texas A&M and that coaching staff, I mean, Texas A&M is legit, Fish. They are legit. And I love watching them because I'm a defensive-minded guy. I love seeing great defensive play. And like you spoke about, defense is obviously nowadays, it's an offensive game, right? The game has shifted towards an advantage offense. Everyone wants to see 40-plus points game scored and everything else like that, right? For Texas A&M to limit an LSU team that has NFL players on that offense to what they did is just remarkable. And again, Jimbo Fisher, every year, Texas A&M has gotten better and better and better, and they're not going anywhere, Fish. What are your thoughts on that in that game and their program?
25 rushes for 36 yards. I mean, I watched their game last night, and what impressed me is they are just flat out nasty on defense.
Yep.
It's crazy. Like, I remember the first couple of years going on, I always like checking out different message boards, and the A&M fans, I don't know if they were real high on Mike Elko. He's got a great defense. And the one thing is you watch them last night. How many times did LSU run some bubble screen or some, they run their running backs out in the flats, and there's an A&M guy there before the ball gets to the receiver. They just are attacking. They get after it. And the one thing is that always usually shows up when you have that part of the ball is your defense shows up. It shows up on the road. It shows up at home. It's the one thing, if you have a great defense, you can count on. And their offense didn't play well. Mond was off. They've had a few games off. He got really hot this year, and then he went back and kind of reverted to the Mond that you kind of saw earlier in the year. But they didn't have to worry about him because they got a big game out of Spiller, and their defense was lights out. I mean, every time they needed a stop in that game, I think LSU got a turnover in A&M's side of the ball, and then all of a sudden the defense got the ball right back. They have a national championship caliber defense, and they're sneaking up in this thing. I mean, everybody said, "Oh, they were out of it when they lost to Alabama." If Notre Dame beats Clemson and A&M runs the table, Texas A&M's in the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
They are literally one. They do their business on their side and get one more loss from Clemson. Jimbo has a team in the playoffs, and I can't tell you how many people told me he'll never do that at A&M. Mm-hmm. I said, and I don't know. They said it's no way, you can't win at A&M. It's this, it's that. He's one game away.
Yep.
and I'd like to see what those people got to say then, because everybody's been wrong as him as a coach. If you don't like him, that's on you. He's a hell of a coach. Mm-hmm. He's done a very good job. I mean, A&M's not a traditional power, and he's turned them into an elite level SEC caliber team. You see it on both. They are big on their O-line. And one of the stats that was mind-blowing, because you heard it so many times as Florida State fans would complain about their O-line. I don't know if they gave up a sack last night, but they haven't given up a sack in like 200 passing plays. Mm. All right. Their O-line is unreal. And they probably have the second best O-line in college football behind Notre Dame this year. Mm. And when you're able to protect your quarterback, you could call pretty much any play you want. And they're going to be these next couple games, and they're a team you don't want to play in the playoffs because they're so physical on both sides of the football. Offensively, they're limited, but they still have enough to make life miserable for you if they make it that far.
Yep. No, I know. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Let's talk about two coaches that one that actually was let go, and then one that's kind of right now his position is kind of up in the air, and that's Tom Herman at Texas. Just a tough position, obviously Tom Herman has improved, quote unquote, the status of Texas, but they still aren't where Texas fans and Texas alumni expect them to be at, right? This is the University of Texas, UT. They're supposed to be the elite of the elite. And right now, for Iowa State player to speak about this is a 5-star culture beating 5-star players, speaks volumes about the direction of both programs, right? Texas being, quote unquote, fat and happy. They're having those 5-star kids out of Texas and high 4-star rated kids and et cetera, et cetera. And Iowa State having those lunch pail kids, right? Having those kids that believe in the system and the process and what Coach Campbell is doing at Iowa State. And it's just a tough position. I don't envy Tom Herman. I think his coaches should be uneasy. I think he should be uneasy because no matter what he does, Fish, it's not going to please people. There's people right now who support University of Texas that want him gone. And he's a good football coach, right? But obviously there's a disconnect there and something's not working. And then same thing with Vanderbilt, right? Vanderbilt just recently fired Derek Mason. Vanderbilt fans and University of Vanderbilt have to understand that is an extremely tough job. You're in the SEC, one of, if not the best football conference in the country, right? University of Vanderbilt is not, or Vanderbilt University is not going to be competing for SEC championships on a yearly basis, right? They're like we spoke about previously with Indiana. There is a cap to that job, Fish. And Jay Cutler is not walking through the doors every other year. Okay, so obviously, Coach Mason, obviously they didn't think he did a good job or whatever case may be, and they parted ways. But I just don't feel like that job has a ceiling, Fish. That job has a ceiling. Give me your thoughts on that game. The whole thing.
I've known Coach Mason a long time. I had met him. I believe he was the defensive coordinator at Stanford under Jim Harbaugh. He's a great coach.
Yes.
I mean, he's a great defensive coordinator. He's going to get hired quickly. He's not going to be out of work quickly. But sometimes guys want to be coaches so bad. And I think this is one of the times, and, I can't tell Coach Mason, hey, listen, I know an SEC job opened up. You should take it. But sometimes this is, you look at Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart waited till the right job opened up. And as individuals, we want things quickly. We want, you're that way, I'm that way. Just as individuals, our ego wants us to be the best. We want to get to the top of that ladder so quickly that sometimes we make decisions that aren't in the best of our career. And one of them is taking that Vanderbilt job. Well, I don't believe you could. What James Franklin did there, he should have a statue in front of the stadium, and they should name the stadium after him right now. He beat Florida, Tennessee, Georgia while he was there. That will never happen again in our lifetime. You could write it down. The Vanderbilt people could get upset at me. That's a fact. I'll put it as a fact, even though it's my opinion. But it's a very hard school to win at. I mean, it's probably the hardest school in the SEC to win at. It's an academic school. They don't let just anybody in there. You're competing against, 15 other schools that think football is the only thing that exists in this world. And your administrators really would be happy with just a clean program. And the ceiling of that program is 6 wins in a bowl game. If you get anything above that, your coach is leaving, and he should leave. Because it's just the expectations of those schools, it's unbelievable. I look at one school that's comparable to them, and that's Northwestern in the Big Ten. And that's why I think Pat Fitzgerald's one of the top 5 to 10 coaches in the country, because those schools, you are not respected. Fans have an expectation that is unrealistic. And I feel bad for those guys to have to take those jobs. I mean, somebody's got to do it, but Vanderbilt's an impossible job to win at. It just really is. And I don't know what their expectations are, but, maybe they bring in, a young offensive coordinator that could put up a lot of points, and maybe they could score a lot, but they don't win a lot of ball games, and fans are satisfied with that. But I don't know what their expectations are there. I don't know what their fan base wants, their administrators, but it's unrealistic. And Coach Mason, like I said, it's sad because I do think he's a very good coach, and hopefully he gets another shot at a head coaching job. I don't know if he will, but he's going to have to, rebrand himself. But he's going to be one of the top defensive coordinators that people go after, and he deserves a shot at a good job. I don't think he should have to go all the way back down to like an FBS level. He's too good of a coach, and he's a great man, by the way. He's a very great. I really like him as a person.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on the Texas situation?
Texas, we've talked about this. I think Texas needs to look outside. They need to bring an outsider into their program and open that thing up and look at it, because the biggest problem at Texas is these guys think that the only football that exists is in the state of Texas. High school football, they think that, we got to take everybody's kid that ever played in the state of Texas and their family members. They need to understand, Texas is a national brand.
Yeah.
They are USC. They are Ohio State. They are all of these schools that are national brands, whether it's Notre Dame, whether it's Alabama. They have to understand, you could go after the elite of the elite. They need to be able to go after the Todd Gurleys, the Kandichis, the Clownies of the world. They have to go after those type of players, or they're never going to be they're going to continue to be 5-3 like they are right now, or 8-4, and they'll win 1 or 2 big games. But if they don't start acting like what you are, they don't act like a big time program. They just don't. They sit there and they go after these average football players in Texas that these experts, these so-called experts, rank all these kids. When was the last time they had a great running back? Their leading rusher was Sam Englinger the other day at 15 rushes, 65 yards. This is a program that's had Earl Campbell, Cedric Benson. They've had
Ricky Williams.
They've had great running backs, and they haven't had I can't remember the last time they had a great running back. Mm-hmm. It's embarrassing. That's on them. Mm-hmm. That's their alumni. That's their boosters. How about they look in the mirror and stop blaming the coaches? Say, hey, listen, what we're doing wrong is we're forcing these head coaches to recruit only the state of Texas. Mm-hmm. That's on you guys. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. They're going to get a rude awakening, because if Urban Meyer does get that job, or someone like that, they're going to be their alumni and boosters are going to have to sit back and understand Urban ain't going to just recruit the state of Texas.
No.
If the best quarterback is in Pennsylvania, or he's in Ohio, or he's in California, he's going to recruit that kid. He ain't going to give a crap if the kid played in Plano, Texas, or some town, that these fans feel like entitled. The Texas program is this program that feels entitled, and that every player that ever played there, grandkids, like, you don't need everybody's kid that ever graduated from that school to play there. Let's go get some real football players, guys that are elite, that, Alabama's taking. Alabama goes into Texas and they don't take every Texas player. They just take their best ones. Mm-hmm. And you look, they lost Brockermeyer's 2 kids to Alabama. How about you keep those guys in town and you won't have to fire Tom Herman? I don't know. I think it's a program. They keep hiring these coaches and thinking the results are going to change, but they don't change. They continue to do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, but if I'm Urban Meyer, do you even want to take that job? Like, why even mess with your legacy, right? I mean, it's not going to hurt him to take a job like University of Texas, because he's still regarded as the best, or one of the best coaches to ever coach the game. But why even have the headache, Fish, of coaching the University of Texas? Yes, it's a prestigious job, and yes, they'll probably, he's already a multi-millionaire, right? So the amount of money, it's not about the money anymore. And his kids are taken care of. I just don't understand.
I don't know if he's gonna. I don't know if he's gonna take it. Like,
why take it?
If he doesn't take it, then who takes it? Are they going to go hire Matt Campbell? I mean, like, no, so
Matt Campbell's not taking that job.
So they're going to get rid of Herman for the next Tom Herman. They're basically hiring the same guy, because that he was a hot. I mean, everybody wanted Tom Herman. He coached under Urban Meyer. He was the guy that was offensive coordinator when Ohio State won the national championship with Ezekiel Elliott. He's the one that put up the monster stats at University of Houston. This was LSU was falling all over themselves to land him, and ended up hiring a guy that was already on their staff and won a national title. Would Herman have won that national title at LSU? I don't know. There's so many things that go into hiring a coach. My number one criteria, you better be an elite recruiter. Listen, if one more person tells me about developing and character and all this other, listen, the best players win you national titles. You can win it. You can win 8-9 games with good kids.
Yeah.
All right. That are good football players. The teams that are in the playoffs every year, trust me, look at the rankings. Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama. I guarantee you they're in the top 5 of those rankings in recruiting rankings every year. It's not by accident. Mm-hmm. And somebody will go, oh, well, what about Cincinnati? Okay, good. Everybody has that one name they could throw out. I'll give you the 70 or 80 schools that can't win without those players. All right.
But again, even in a school like Cincinnati, you're not playing that level of competition on a week in and week out
Oh,
basis.
there's no question. They're the best. They're a team that's recruiting the best players in Ohio that Ohio State and the Big Ten schools aren't recruiting, and they're going against schools that can't compete with them because they're getting the top players at that level. They're getting the plateau kids at that level. So that's why they're winning. And as great a coach as they have, he's winning because he's got great football players in that conference. It's not. There's no magic formula of, hey, bring these guys in. They're no-star kids, and we're going to mix them up and become a national champion. Find me the last team that won a national championship that their rankings were in the 30s, 40s, 50s of the national rankings. I don't believe you could dig deep. I think it's been a long time. I mean, BYU in '83 when, the teams in SEC weren't good.
It's rare. It's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
Not in the playoff era, right?
Yeah.
You may have gotten away with that. A team getting prepared to play a bowl game, right? And catch them sleeping for one game. But that's not you can't do that in the playoff era, Fish.
Yeah. And I think another thing that's changed in this era is the quarterback position.
Yeah.
You used to win with the game manager. Those days are over. Like, you better have an NFL quarterback that's going to get drafted. Once again, look at the playoff teams. Every one of those guys will either get drafted really high or have a shot at playing on an NFL roster. Even Ian Book, he may not be a first rounder, but he'll get on an NFL roster.
No doubt. And you look at how even the University of Georgia, look how their team has transformed now that they've changed quarterbacks. Now they look like a whole different team, right? And I'm sure UGA fans are wondering, well, why wasn't this guy starting from before?
Yeah, they just scored 45 points. They haven't, and what's crazy is now that they have a quarterback, they were able to run the football really well. I mean, they had 4 guys, University of Georgia this weekend, over 70 yards rushing. Why? Because they had the threat of throwing the football. Even if the guy only threw for 140 yards, JT Daniels, just the threat of being able to push the ball down the field forces teams to back off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it opens so many things up for you, Fish.
Yeah.
It allows you the ability to run the ball. Usually teams will pass to set up the run, right? So now having that ability, you open up your whole offense. Now, speaking about just leadership and what's going on and COVID and everything else like that, let's talk about the FSU situation, which I'm very disappointed in that, being an alumni myself at Florida State, I just feel like it's a situation that just lacks and really screams for a leadership, right? It's a lack thereof of leadership. And it starts at the top, in my opinion.
Yeah.
For Florida State to be off, Fish, for this amount of time, and they're the only school that have games canceled on the day of the game. So not only do you put fans and staff members and everyone else at bay, but the people who are coming in, the people who are paying money to watch you play, the people who have invested, maybe they've saved up for the whole year to come and watch you play that Saturday. And I'm not saying the game is about the fans. It's not, it's obviously about the student athletes that play the game, but the fans are a part of that experience, right? Yeah. And you're talking about a year that is unlike any other, right? Because of the financial implications that go along with it. I just feel that FSU's leadership is so poor, and it continue to show itself of how poor it is in front of the whole country to see. It is crazy to me. I don't want to talk about this topic because I'll go off the rails, but hop in there.
Yeah, and once again, this isn't you can't blame Coach Norvell because these are the people above him that are making decisions.
Correct.
I just think this whole year, if you could hit a reset button at one program, it'd be Florida State. Like, literally everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. This is a program that's been very proud. They've won a lot of football games. Losing is not something that fan base that we know has ever seen to this level. And it's a tough pill to swallow. it's fine. You cancel a game, but why are you canceling it the day of the game? And not only did you do it once, you did it twice in back-to-back weeks.
Mhm.
And I don't know how I don't know how you come about to these decisions. It's like, all right, it seems like it's easier to get testing. Why aren't they testing these guys on Monday and Tuesday if they're supposed Tuesday? And at least by Wednesday or Thursday, it's already taken care of,
Mhm.
But I don't know. I'm over the whole topic of Florida State football, to be honest with you. They need a reset. Hopefully these guys get it done this spring. And that's about it, man. I don't know what else to tell you. I know you guys like to keep talking about this, but that horse has been beaten to death. Our pal Corey finally came in. He's at the Bucks game.
Yeah, Corey, hop in.
15.
I got a few minutes
First
left.
down for the
Tyreek
Chiefs.
Hill is murking the Bucs secondary. I think he's got 275 yards receiving today. So,
Well, hey, we're talking about FSU situation. Talk
Why?
about it.
it's dire. They're dying. It's a rudderless ship.
Oh, man. I mean, look at these stats. I mean, Mahomes 34 of 44 for 449 and 3 touchdowns. Brady's throwing some picks again, man.
Yeah. I mean, the Bucs are running an Adam Fuller defense out there, I think.
Were you there, the ball carrier?
Oh, man. Poor Adam Fuller even gets blamed for a Bucs defense. I mean, the poor guy. I mean, listen, man, are we going to really blame him for the Bucs now?
Yes.
If I got an upset stomach, can I blame him for my Thursday night upset stomach because my mom's turkey wasn't as good as it was supposed to be?
Yes.
I mean, come on, man. You guys are so rough, man.
One thing right now, I think FSU administration looks at it and says, you know what? We can't lose if we don't play. Right?
Hey, listen, I prayed. I was the one that prayed for the COVID gods. And now that's happened, they got COVID. They got COVID twice, and I got them out of the last 2 games.
But Fish, honestly speaking, for real, I don't know if you guys saw the report, Corey, you too. 44 players able to play. 44. I've never seen that. I've never seen that before on a collegiate team, right? That has scholarships.
That's 50% of your scholarship.
Wait,
absolutely.
Wait a second. They've already the fans wanted them to run everybody off. They did, and then they realized, holy cow, we have no one left. I mean, listen, talking about that, I watched Denver before. I mean, watching them throw. They tried to. This is the funniest thing about COVID. Denver tried to throw out an assistant coach this week to play quarterback. This is no lie. They tried to run a guy out there that played in college. They had no one left. I mean, is that what Florida State is like? Is my buddy Effie going to get thrown into a football game next week at Florida State? He played O-line at U School. Is Effie going to get a chance to play this week? We'll throw him in at fullback. He'll get that. Corey, is he going to get to play?
It was Rob Calabrese, the old UCF quarterback, who tried to get to play today.
Yeah,
he didn't even play at UCF.
Oh, man. It's gotten that bad in the era of COVID that we're like, McKinley has some eligibility left. Do you think he could play?
No, I mean, honestly, though, you can't realistically go into a football game with 44 people, but they placed themselves in that position, honestly. We can't – now this is something that we have to take away from FSU leadership and talk about what is happening under Coach Norvell, right?
Yeah, but are all those kids sick, or is it just contract – are they – it almost seems like they're the only ones playing by these rules. We talked about this at the high school level. I have one coach that they haven't played a game this year because they don't in high school. And these other schools, some of them haven't missed one game. Are you telling me they haven't had one kid get COVID? They have the match.
Well, they're not tested. That's the answer. They just haven't been tested, right?
So Alabama hasn't had one kid fail a COVID test this year. But Florida State's had do you decide like when you get guys positive or not? Oh, we play Clemson this week, man. I need at least 33 guys out. 33 guys out, so we don't have to. Do they decide like how many guys don't play? I mean, how do they make these decisions? It's just it's mind-boggling, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they're all under the same protocols, but it's a lot easier to say that when you're 2-6, right?
Yep.
You know, but you know, we'll I don't know. But you know, let's wrapping this up. We've had a spirited conversation. You know, Fish has been good dialogue. Obviously, Corey is doing his other job. So you know, we miss his words of wisdom. But just speaking to the listeners, you know, if you guys you could find us on Apple Podcast. You know, we would love to have you guys give us a rating of 5 stars. We're also on Spotify, SoundCloud, as well as YouTube. Listen up, you know, subscribe to us where you can have, you know, we hear these weekly discussions where we try to have, you know, well-rounded guests and try to make this thing even better for you guys. But, you know, great conversation, guys.
No doubt. And I enjoyed being back on this week. Like I said, man, all that food made me really tired, man. Like between that and you calling me, asking me where your game film is, you know. So.
Hey, is it me or the other coaches? Don't put me in that lump.
You're now in that group. You're now in that group. I tell you my weakness. All right, I tell you my kryptonite, and your ass throws that shit right back at me. All right.
Hey,
you're like, oh man, Fish gives me all his tells. I'm gonna just take all his chips.
Hey,
I'm gonna take every damn chip.
Corey, all I know is that you know when I say
Corey, don't do me like you, man. Don't put Corey in the same category as you.
I said, hey, Fish, hey, just send me an invoice, man. The check is in the check is on its way, man. You know
I ain't gonna lie. You paid me. But now, like, you pay me early, you think you get, like, extra privilege. Like, I'm supposed to bring you a cup of coffee, all right? Like, I'm bringing you your headsets now. Like, I mean, if I come to a game, are you going to tell me to set the cones up and paint the field? I mean, like, come on, McKinley. I mean, I already gave you the host of this show, man. What else do you want, man? Like, shit. Like, what else do you want me to do? Like, there's nothing left for me to give you. I mean, between you and my wife, man, I need a little pride. I need a little pride. Like, come on, man. Leave me some dignity.
Hey, how did I get lumped in with Angela, man?
I have no idea. Hey, I'm just glad we're recording this so she can listen to it right now. But hey, Corey, I'm out, man. You and that mask, you look like the Undertaker of Tampa Bay football right now. Like you're about to stick the fork in their season.
This is actually a Palm Beach County COVID mask. McKinley probably has one that's similar to this one.
Nah, they gave us one, but I had too much swag for that.
Oh, McKinley has these Under Armour.
My parents
he has these Under Armour ones, man, that are like $30 for one. Like my wife can't lose them. You know, we like have bells on those things, so she doesn't lose them. Oh man, I'll see you guys later, Corey. We're out. You better come on next. You better come on next week. And hey, listen, man, McKinley, come on with some good guests already. Man. Come on, man. You got to come through for that.
Hey, man, I got you, man.
All right, I'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right, see y'all.
All right, bye.